We are live. Hello, everyone, again, and thank you for your patience. My name is Byrd and my handle on all social medias is Yoga Bird. So you can find me on TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Molly, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Molly Pruitt, and I am known as what am I known as? Mike and Molly's house. I think Mike and Molly's house. Same thing, kind of everywhere. Yeah, yeah. So I'm so excited that we're doing this today. I'm actually I have a lot of YouTube accounts, and I'm gonna try and see if I can get on the live through my other one because I want to know how like right now it's not showing us that we're live on your account. I'm just
Yep,
curious.
it must be showing we're live somewhere because a couple people, hey, hi, Cynthia, have joined. So I think it must show that I'm live and it will have like the blinking live
Ah.
kind of icon. I don't have another YouTube
Oh,
account.
I found it. You
Yes,
hit the subscribe button and it'll automatically tell you you're live then.
good. I broke a nail in the haste to try to get on because I was like, what's going on? So anyway, guys, without further ado, um, I wanted to share before we get started a couple things. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the projects that we are. Yes, we can see you live on YouTube. Yay! Yeah. So we're going to tell you about
Who's on?
my cat keeps hitting my tripod. I'm going to give her another moment and then I'm going to put her out of my room. But shutting the door doesn't keep her out of my sewing room. She can open the door. This isn't even in my cat. So let's start by first, we want to share with you our sewing machines. I am working on my PFAF Quilt Ambition 630. I've had her for about a year and a half. She does everything. She's not top of the line. She's not bottom of the line. She's kind of middle of the road. I love her. She comes with about 199 stitches. I use maybe five, but I love her. Molly, what machine are you using today?
Well, my story's longer. And I'm sorry, Julian, hi. God, look at Julian's on.
Yep.
I'm just like I listen, I've just finished their latest podcast. So I feel like I have Julian and Aronica in my ear every Friday afternoon I drive to. So I feel like I know him. I feel like I understand his boundaries. I understand all those things. So I just had to take a moment to breathe. Um, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us. Okay. So I live in New Mexico, northern New Mexico. It's really cold in the winter. I have a lovely sewing space. Some might call it a she shed or something like that. It's fairly non-heated space. I do have a wood stove in there. So in the winter, I often come into my house and I bring my extra machine in. Which my extra machine used to be and I call it FAF. I know some people call it PFAF, some people call it, so it's my FAF. I think it's 150, although Jillian would probably correct me because it's my vintage machine. The motor's on broken. So long story, people. That's how it rolls with me. I have my Singer heavy duty. I bought it, like a year ago on sale. I really like it. I use it as my top stitcher machine. But when it's really cold and I'm working out of the house, I bring it over here. So that's what I'm going to work on today. So Mike, you're going to see Michael like walking back and forth, and we're in the middle of a construction zone. So
No worries. I love that. And I love your Singer. That's a very popular one.
very
Um,
popular.
so this is our first time on YouTube. And thank you guys for being here and dropping love and support. Drop some love and support in the comments because we could use it. I was nervous today. We are working on Stash Busting Sunday. And it
Yeah.
may be something that we will do on a regular basis. So would love your comments and feedback. My project today that is going to take me all of about 15, 20 minutes is a tote bag. Why? Because someone recently asked me to make them a tote bag. It would be a gift. And so, in honor of Black History Month, I decided to repurpose a dashiki, and the dashiki I purchased from actually Kenya. Kenya last year, the motherland, the homeland, and I purchased this fabric from Kenya. I purchased the dashiki for my son. It was too small for my daughter. So I repurposed the dashiki. I am going to be making a tote bag using the dashiki. I am keeping the pockets that came on the dashiki. Um, and the top part, which would have been the neckline of the dashiki, I'm going to use on the inside of the bag. It will be reversible, and I'm going to use it on the inside for an interior pocket. I'm using this for the interior pocket, again, in honor of Black History Month. So that's my project. And I'm using pre-made straps. I didn't go out and do my own. These are basically straps that you get from Amazon or any fabric store. And they really are kind of like seatbelt straps. There's a name for them that escapes me now. Molly, what are you working on today?
Webbing. Webbing?
Webbing. That's what it is, Molly. It's webbing.
Okay. I have to give Michael Michael, let me go get the chicken. Could you go get our demonstrator? Yeah. Now I'm going to talk about mine, but we actually have a demonstration, and because we were so trying to figure out how to get on, I didn't bring the demonstrator. So I'll start talking about my stash buster, and then so I'm going to do what's called a hen saddle. I know you all are what is that, Molly? It's for a chicken. It's for a hen, a female chicken, gallina, also, and it's a little jacket. This is pattern is from HelloSews.com. It's a little jacket that you put over her.
Oh my God!
And you do it because, as cute as my chickens are, I tell you, they're a little bitchy sometimes. They're a little mean sometimes, and they will peck at each other. And so this protects her backside. It's primarily people use it for roosters because when they mount the chicken, this is the area of the chicken that really gets hurt.
Oh, wow.
My chickens are actually just plucking her a little bit lower. And so I kind of added a little bit here for hers. Yeah, they're just, I love this group of chickens. I have to say, I love this group of chickens. But there is a pecking order. She seems to be the lowest. I have the Polish that have the big feather hats, and they can't see that well. And so one of them was pecking her head. And so I had to trim her feathers back. So she's the most ridiculous looking Polish, but that helped so they wouldn't pick her head.
I would have never thought of it, and it's an actual pattern to do just that.
Exactly. It's a problem. It is a problem when you have a rooster. You know, they here he comes. We're gonna have our model here.
Oh, what?
I already made her one, and that's when you were like, I just finished it when you were like, oh, Molly, let's do stash busting. And I was like, oh, she's perfect. She's a perfect stash buster. So I made her a little green one. You can see. So, and I don't know what her name is. Sorry, guys. She's just a chicken.
Oh my gosh, Molly.
So you see, if I lift up her end, you can see where she's growing back, but you can kind of see where she got hurt, where they've been plucking on her. So this protects her. It's strapped right up here, and then it's been sitting on her wings. You know, I check her every once in a while because this is the first time I've done this, but it's
elastic.
It's elastic that goes around her wing, and she seems just fine. Like she doesn't talk to me about it, but she seems just fine about it. Like I think she likes the fact that they can't get to her.
And she's so incredibly comfortable.
Yeah, Michael was saying now they're going after her leg, but they're not. Chaps. She needs chaps now.
Oh wow! Oh wow! She's cute.
You say hi. Yeah, she's a good one.
Hello, little guy or little girl.
Yeah. So
I
I
love
only have girls right now. That's why I'm like, I don't do the Rooster thing. I'm gonna let her go back, but she could probably sit here all day with us.
and Cynthia wants to know the pattern name again and where you got it from for the
Okay.
chicken saddle, the rooster saddle.
So I got it from Hello Sewing. HelloSewing.com. She does need chaps to go with her saddle. She
And
does.
it's a free pattern.
It's a free pattern. And it's, you need, so I'm going to use 2 pieces of fabric to do this. And that's what they tell you to do. 2 pieces of heavyweight fabric with it, and then 11-inch length of 1/4-inch fabric. And because during the pandemic, I decided to get so much elastic, I have more 1/4-inch. This is just one of 2. So yeah.
We'll,
So that's Cynthia. Good luck on this. And you can, come back and see how I did. It's a fast one. Like, I am a slow sewer, but this is a fast one.
one of our Sundays, I think we should plan to do where you go out into your trailer. I don't have as big of a stash as you do, and I'll share people. Just kind of, we'll just spend the hour or 2 hours just kind of going through our favorite fabrics and some of them that maybe are not all that favorite and what we may want to do with it. So Cynthia says that she has 2 hens as well. Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew? I love my chickens. Michael just, we're moving, and we just spent the morning deciding how all of our things are gonna get down to Albuquerque. And he came in this morning. He's like, "So we're gonna sell the chickens, right?" And I was like, "I really like this bunch of them. Like, I go through I've been doing this for 40 years. Like, I have no problem. I never get that attached." I'm like, "Sure," but yeah.
So
Um,
you can't get rid of the chickens. So hello, Angela. Let's catch up. And
Hello,
Denise for
Denise.
dropping over. I met Denise over on TikTok, and I've been telling people on TikTok that we're going to be going live. So I'm really happy that folks have come over. Please subscribe to Molly and myself. For more sewing content. We're newbies. We're not professionals at that. So what you're going to get is just two sewing ladies, women who just love doing what we do. You're going to get some crazy technology, some crazy techniques, but it is who we are. And me can relate to that as well.
Yeah.
So,
Should we get started? I
yes,
told you. I was like, it takes me, 15 minutes to do this, but the way I chit chat, we'll be here all day.
it's I love that. And mine is really easy too. You might be done with yours before mine, but what I'm going to do now is I'm starting with the which would have been the collar as you slip on
Right.
the dashiki, and I wanted to really um, hold on to that. I really have been into repurposing and upcycling. So I have an issue with throwing things away. If I feel that it can be used for something else, I hold on to it. And I could put the pocket on the outside, but honestly, I did not want to detract from what is already there. So I'm just going to do a little bit of contrast work and do it on the inside. So that's where
Right.
I'm starting.
So I have a question about your front piece of the tashiki.
Yes.
So does that come like a panel?
It is actually a shirt that you slip in over your head.
Right, but what is so this section of it, this was already one that you're at. I'm
This
okay.
if you imagine a slip over shirt
Right.
um, and this is the collar of it. So right
Okay.
around the neck. And this is the back of the daishiki.
So
And
yeah, as Cynthia says, you're repurposing it. I think I got so like nervous as we were setting up, I missed that. So
yeah. So I literally cut through the front and the back. That's the
okay.
front back of the fabric. Before coming on, I just simply press this a pocket without me creating a pocket. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, wonderful. So I don't know how everyone does their stash. What I do is when I actually create little stashes of my extra fabric and I put them in different categories. So I have a stash, anything that's just about a yard goes in a little thing, then smaller. So I literally pulled out one of my little piles, and this is things that are really probably like a quarter of a yard and less.
Yeah.
And so that's, I'm going through, what's so lovely is you go through this and you just think of like, oh, I remember that dress.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. Sewing for me is such a memory thing. I think it's a lot of people have memories around clothing, what some special piece of clothing you had. Um, and for me, it's also attached to clothes I sewed at some point. So um, yeah, so I have this piece of old IKEA fabric. I made these great covered, and again, like
That's
I a
that's
long time ago, I had
pretty.
this beautiful wicker couch, and I made these couch covers. I no longer have, but so I thought, oh, I'll make that. I'll make it out of this.
That's really pretty. And I think it would also, that kind of fabric also, Molly, I think lends itself to making like a small zippered pouch. Um,
Yeah,
all
that's a good one to do.
like, like if I'm getting together with friends and we're celebrating a birthday, I may go into my stash and those small little pieces like that, I will make like a little zippered pouch or
Mhm.
one bag holder. Um, and then I'll use my Cricut and I may actually customize it on the Cricut and just put their name and glitter or something.
Yeah,
Uh, so that's what I do a lot with my stash. My
that's
just
a great idea. I like that. Um, Denise, I am Molly, and I'm at Mike and Molly's house. So please go follow us. Bird, you know how so on Instagram I did this poll if I should take Mike and Molly's house and just break off the sewing um
I saw that.
account. And you know what? I've never thought of it. I've had people that told me. I had one friend. She's like, "You must do that," and I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do it." But you know what? Why I started thinking about it is because YouTube is so niche. And I was feeling like, well, maybe my YouTube really just should be sewing. So I may start a new account off of Mike and Molly's on YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, Molly. I think that give it a try because one of the things that I love about your content is that it isn't hi hey Joe, that's my nephew who's joining, who is an amazing
Oh, cool. Hi, Joe. I'm
no,
Molly.
no, amazing. But one of the things that I love about your content, Molly, in addition to the amazing sewing work that you do, I enjoy seeing the roosters. I enjoy seeing the different things that you're doing. I enjoy seeing your um, remodeling and work that you're doing in your kitchen. I'm just amazed at the work that you and Mike are doing. It's crazy. It's I so I like it. The other thing I was going to say is I think that with YouTube, you certainly can use hashtags here. So with people finding you on um, YouTube with the sewing content, maybe they can also find you for the other things as well that you like without you having to do necessarily two different channels. We're
That's
multifaceted people.
We are multifaceted people. Why can't everyone understand? Well, the good news is I put the poll up, and most people the poll was, are you here for the DIY? Are you here for the sewing? Most people did say they were, or both. And most people did say they were there for both. Now, I don't know how honest people are, but
But
it,
on TikTok, I think it's different. I do think that the communities are a little bit more niche on not TikTok, on Instagram,
yeah,
and that people sometimes will not always be as interested in things that are not sewing if they're sewing related people. But at the end of the day, this is something that you love. Do what you love, and to heck with the what people believe or want. And I feel that if you're doing something that you love, that whatever you're seeking will follow. You don't have to do what other people want you to do.
yeah. Well, and I think it's I've tried that trying to monetize and stuff, and every time I go off there, I honest to God, I feel like my content becomes slightly tried. I say it's less authentic because it is me, but it's almost like I'm trying too hard. So, you know,
And I think
start sewing. I'm gonna everyone who's watching, Byrd is one of my biggest influencers.
yes, guys.
These are the sewing scissors. I haven't used them yet. So we're gonna try them.
They are really great. If you have never used electric scissors, um, start small with just cutting straight lines. But I use it for curves and everything, and I'm very comfortable with it. But you don't want to go in there in a crazy way.
Okay.
I like it, and it saves my hands. Like I don't get like if I'm cutting out, say, a couple different things, I don't get that fatigue in my hands. My son is reaching out. Did you go live? Yeah, I'm live now, bro, but I can't tell.
Yes, sir. Darius, where are you?
Let
Where's
me
my daughter?
let me try to let me tell Joe. Hey, Joe, my nephew's here. Joe, would you text Darius and say, yes, I'm live, and maybe share the link with him? Actually, anyone that's here, if you're willing, please share our live with other people on Instagram or TikTok so they know that we're here. But Joe, I wanted to tell you, remember this daishiki? I got it in Kenya at one of the Maasai markets. And when I brought it back, it didn't fit Darius. It didn't fit Nia. It's too gorgeous not to use. So I am repurposing it into a tote bag that I can carry around with me when I'm doing grocery shopping, when I'm going to Joann's or somewhere else to pick up something. I might end up giving it away because I think it's really nice. I think it's so nice. But then I have trouble giving it away because I'm like, it's too nice. Maybe I want to keep it. But that's the project that I'm working on is I'm repurposing this fabric because it's just too gorgeous not to use.
I'm
And
gonna try out my scissors. Now I said, oh, I haven't tried these. I tried out a pair at Joann's, and that's when I was like, oh, I have to get these now. And that's when I promptly called you. And I said,
and Joann's, they're now using those scissors at the cutting table.
yeah, and they let me try them out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm trying it right now. Oh, this is easy.
You see how clean it is? And it cuts through denim, cuts through canvas. It does, and mine came with a couple different blades that I can use it
I have 2 different plates.
like cardboard even.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about too.
Yeah,
Oh, this is easy.
to my Cynthia, I thought about adding a little bit of interfacing to the bottom of the bag to make the bag a little bit more stable. I didn't want it on the sides. I didn't want a bulky kind of bag that I'm moving around. So what I've done is created an interior pocket. I've put together a couple different fabrics in honor of Black History Month. I really love this one that I got from Joann's. And this is the top of the daishiki. And by what I just did, I basically created 2 pockets on the inside. And I love that feature. And this bag will be completely reversible. So whatever side speaks to me at any given time, I think is going to be really neat. I'm going to go over that again to make
sure. Is this too loud?
Not.
Okay. All right. So Julian says he loves the rotary cutter ones. Did not know there was rotary cutter ones.
What?
Julian, are these on your Amazon account?
And there's a rotary cutter electric.
Okay, did it.
Oh, that Julian.
So the reason I need these is, I have arthritis, and so my hands are the worst. So yeah, I mean, one of my things sewing has saved me because I became very unphysical. I wasn't able to do a lot of physical things, and sewing was my place I could go and kind of retreat from being pissed off about not being able to run anymore. But so things like this, I just are so wonderful because I no longer have to, worry about my hands hurting. And
So folks are asking about the electric rotary cutter. I don't know, Julian, if you have an Amazon store, if you have it in your Amazon store,
if you
uh,
don't, Jillian, go start. We need you to go start one right now.
and if you don't have it in your Amazon, drop it down if you have it in your Amazon store.
Okay, so the other things, but it helps with hand fatigue. I got it from the Gold Star too. Okay, he's just telling us to go to Gold Star. Whatever. So the other things I've been influenced on lately, excuse me, is Deja. Is that what is
Deja,
her?
Deja, I think it's Deja or Dejanay. I call her both.
Dejanay.
Yeah.
Dejanay. I'm just getting everything. I had this other thing I got when Carmen posted it. It hasn't come in yet. So I got those fabric tags that what are
I
they?
saw those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kate, what is it? Katie and the Machine or
Kyle in the machine.
Kylie and the Machine.
Yeah.
So I got this. I haven't opened it yet, but I obsessively mark what my fabrics are. Um, which I think when we have Lisa Wolfuk on the show, we'll start talking about some of her organizations around fabrics and stuff. So
So let's
I
talk.
will Julian's going to do a video on it.
Oh, he's going to do a video.
Thank you, Julian.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yes, and we will reshare it and let people know that it came up. One
I
of the
have a store. I do have a store. We'll have to put the ones I like in my store. Yeah, Julian, because basically, if anyone puts on things, sewists that I admire, if they put something up, I just go get it. I got this. I don't even know what this is, but I got it anyways. It's like this. It was also, I don't even think it was, it's this seam tape that you like, it kind of has stick and you put it so that you can make a straight line and then sew down the line. I
oh,
don't know. It was like
that
$3.
I don't think you need that. I
Oh,
don't think
I have
that
it.
because you already know how to sew a straight line, baby.
I
You
had to get it.
you are learning to sew.
I was being influenced.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm
you.
going to start sewing now.
It's okay. Give it away to somebody else. It's nice to be influenced and buy stuff, but if you can't use it and you don't want it to collect dust, so just give it away.
Okay. Oh, yes, I keep that seam tape. Okay, Cynthia, what is this seam tape? What is this? Okay. Jermaine says, I have some of that too. I don't know what it is, but I bought it because I was influenced too. See? Because we're like, it must be good. It
I
must be good.
Let me just say that my dollar, I try to be very judicious with them. And so if I'm influenced by something, I'm going to think about it before I actually buy it. And if I buy it, it's something that I really, really want. Guys, I was sharing with TikTok folks earlier today that we're doing our taxes and we added up all of the money that I spent on sewing supplies last year. I'm very judicious now because my husband pulled up the list and I was like,
What? You were like, what? But I needed those things. No,
so
I agree. Mike and Molly started as a blog, and it was how we got out of huge debt
ah,
within a couple of years. And our children, who were like 10 at the time, still they use many of our frugal moments, but they still say like, "Oh my god!" Like they'll still complain like that they had nothing because everything they had to get was they had to make and with everything we had like. But it was fun. But yes, I think because now I'm in a position, you and I have talked about this, we have a little bit of extra cash. Yeah, you do have to watch it, but you want it to go where you want it, good places, and probably not to seam tape that I'm never gonna use.
Yeah. So that was kind of like eye-opening for me. I knew that I had spent some things because the year before I had decked out my sewing room. So I knew we painted, we bought new furniture, I bought these tables, I bought my filing cabinet from IKEA, and different things like that. And I knew I'd spent some money. But then last year I was thinking that I hadn't really spent a lot of money. And well, yeah, I did.
You did. You did. You
Majority
did.
the majority of it was on my cover stitch and my Bernina L860 serger. They were expensive investments, and I got a really good deal on both of them, but expensive investments. So my sister is on now. Hey, Sally, she is a sewist. I got her into sewing. Um,
Oh, I've heard you talked about Sally. How
she's
yeah.
on now. So Sally, I bought this daishiki while she was with me as well, and so was Joe in Kenya. I bought this daishiki for Darius when I was in Kenya at one of the Maasai markets, and it didn't fit him. It was too small. It was too small for Nia as well. So I have basically I'm creating a tote bag, and I'm using this other fabric as well, and it's all in honor of Black History Month. So I feel good about that. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for sharing that.
Thank you. Cynthia, you're coming every time. So, where I'm at with my saddle is I've cut the two pieces and now I have pinned the right sides together. And now I'm going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam all the way around, but I'm going to leave the top open. And at that point, I'll turn it right side out. There. I don't have my iron in here, which I know some people are like, oh, I don't really iron. I am an iron person. So, but I was trying to get everything set up and just bringing my iron in. And you have the same iron I do.
The Oliso?
And I think there's something wrong with mine.
Where did you buy it?
I bought it at Joann's. I
How
bought
long?
it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they won't take it back. But if you reach out to Oliso by Instagram, send them a message, let them know what was going on. They may actually send you a new iron. You can also email them, but if you email them, I found the process was a little bit more protracted. When I reached out directly by social media, the woman who worked with me had me to send my address, and she shipped me a new iron that arrived. And I did a story to thank them because those irons are not cheap.
They're not cheap. They're not cheap. Well, mine's in this kind of zone where I don't know if I can. When I got it, I just thought, well, this iron doesn't really get that hot. If you have ever had like a Rowenta, I mean, like
I
those, okay, they're super hot. And I was like, and I had a Sunbeam before that. And I was like, this was not as hot. Um, and so I went to a friend's house and she had the same one. And I was like, yeah, yours is hotter than mine.
have.
So I don't know, how do I go? Like, I've had this for 2 years. It just doesn't feel like it's all that warm. I mean, it's hot. It's just not hot.
So what I would say is if you want another iron, get another iron. But because you have invested so much money in Oliso, reach out to them. And if you end up with two irons, you end up with two. Maybe you keep one in the house, maybe you keep one out in your sewing shed. But you've already invested.
I know. That's where I'm like, oh. And I really like it. Again, I go back to my a lot of issues I have with holding things and having that little stand and not having to do this action just is a game changer for me. And I don't know why they really don't like, you know, put that out there for people that have what am I trying to say? Like, but just mobility issues. Mobility issues. That's what I'm trying to say. Um
Yeah.
that should be the first thing. Like, you have mobility issues, you want this iron. Um Yeah. Cynthia, you were asking, somebody was asking if I was going to do interfacing. It does not call for it. I don't see any reason because it's
You
a
don't,
chick wearing it.
and you want it to move with your bird. You don't want it to
I
get.
do, yeah. And I'm using a both are canvas weight. One yeah. So it's a nice, you can see it's not like silk. It's not just fallen, but it's just so it's good.
So
I'm
you
gonna
are a fair amount of structure that you really don't need to add
yeah,
anything.
yeah. I don't.
So, haha, is Carol on? Is Auntie Carol on? Because
Is
Auntie,
Carol on? She's another one where I'm just like, when I see, when I watch the TikTok lives. So, some people when they watch lives, they're like watching. I get my little earbuds on and I'm like plastering a wall. That's what I do. And so I feel like I know all these people from your lives, even if they're in the audience. And I'm just like, I know no one, they're like, who is this lady?
well, they
Who
know you now,
they
and
know me now.
I met Carol as well as
Carol.
at the New York City Frocktails, and I was going and I didn't know anyone. I'd never met any one of, that entire network before. Zoe is not giving up. Before going to the Frocktails, and they were all incredibly amazing. Carol and I, along with Dejanay, we hung out initially and others in Mood. And Carol
Right. Oh,
shared her fabric knowledge. She took me to the store, through the store, and she literally was giving me a college level course. She was giving me a crash course on the different types of fabric, the quality, how you can tell one from the other. She's definitely the real deal. So I've already sewn the exterior of the bag, and I added, I believe you call this a not a bag person, so forgive me when you add a base. So it kind of like has a square bottom. Um, that's called it. This is where I could add a strip of interfacing if I so desired. And yes, Esther is not giving up. Will not leave alone today. So I'm sewing the interior of the bag. And for this tote bag, guys, it is definitely a stack haul. Was just determining the measurements that I wanted and just cut the interior and exterior. I'm going to take my bag to my measuring table and tell you what size I cut. Was 15 by 15 by 14. So 15, you can make it like a shopping bag. You can do whatever you want with it, as you want with it. Um, I wanted to make it functional and the right size that was for me. So while we're sharing with you, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that Molly and I on Instagram once or twice a month, sometimes more. This cat is not giving up. She is all over the machine. She's pulling the fabric, but once or twice a month, we interview sewists, creatives, pattern designers, fabric companies, including more recently, we interviewed Mimi G. We interviewed Brittany Jones. We've interviewed Amy. I forget her last name. She is Simplicity
Yeah.
A. So we've interviewed her live. We've talked a lot about size inclusivity, about age inclusivity. We also, and when we interview people, it isn't always about these folks who have 100,000 followers. That's not always our intent. Our intent is multifaceted. So we like to interview people like yourselves, people who maybe like to do bag making, people that like to, we want to hear about your sewing story, and the sewing community wants to hear that as well. Our lives have been very well attended, and then many, many views after they go live. And we do this uh, in connection with So Over 50. We are both editors for So Over 50.
No,
Um,
I'm not.
you technically are, Molly,
Oh, I
because
am.
live, you're getting into their system and you're taking it over. I'm in their
I'm wiggling myself in.
I'm in their system on a regular basis because
And
behind the scenes. You may not even know it's me that I'm putting up stories and putting out posts. I really try to use that time to focus on all creatives and sewers, but I do lean toward people of color to make sure that we are seen and heard in the space on Instagram and in the sewing community. Um, and we have a couple sewers that are coming on. Lisa from the Stitch podcast will be coming on. Lisa Wolford, Ironica C. Bell will be coming on, and they're all amazing. So that's on our lives, but behind us, we're doing more of the same to amplify all voices. And I have to give you credit, Molly, that when we started doing this thing, there wasn't necessarily a huge focus on that, but it grew into that. And Molly has been so supportive, encouraging, looking for people. Julian, if you're still on, she is
Julian.
she literally is in love with you, Julian, and we got to get you on the live and soon because she keeps saying, I want to get Julian on. I want to get Julian on. So we got to make that happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I love So Over 50, but when we start both go on, what was really really clear, it was a very very white space.
And I think it's okay to say that. I think
I'm
it's okay.
gonna because it was. That was just how it was. And it wasn't, I think it was in um this was pre 2020, with Black Lives Matter, where a lot of us white folks felt that we were inclusive. But when you really looked at things like our feeds and things like that, you could see there was a lack of that. Um, and so it was apparent to me. This is even like just, I mean, it was just one reason. I remember Michael, I was like, why don't you like following me? He goes, there's just a bunch of older white women that I'm
Oh, that's
seeing.
what your husband said?
Yeah. And this,
Wow.
like, that's not my interest. And I was like, noted, honey, noted. And that was one thing, is like trying to bring in more men, Julian. There was a lack of, there was really, and I think it was started by these two women who again wanted to share their joy of sewing. Such a great thing to show. And so as it grew, it was bringing in other people. We had wonderful, like, there were people coming in from different places, but we weren't necessarily seeing it. The other big push Byrd knows I have is in size inclusivity.
Look at me. I'm curvy. I need to make sure that my size is in the pattern package.
Yeah. I mean, I put this on today. I just finished this. It's Decades of Style pattern. And every once in a while, it's not size inclusive. It goes up to, I think, like a size 54 hip. And when we talk size inclusivity, this could mean a lot of things. Really, the benchmark to start is like, let's get a size up to a size 60-inch hip. Again, totally subjective. But yeah, so but because of people like Byrd and Lena, from that's Lena, who are now editors, which is so important. That was the big important thing, is we can ask people to be more inclusive, but until you have people from different places actually as top contributors, like the editors, it's still going to be really problematic.
Yep. Yep.
So when we were doing these lives, you and I came from two different places. We had both on our own asked the founders of So Over 50 Live if we could do lives. And once when they realized the two people had reached out, they put the two of us together and they said, you guys work that out. And it's like, we need to really highlight people that we're not seeing.
Yep.
And you were like, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean,
of course we are, Molly. What else would we do?
And literally just before I reached out to So Over 50 and volunteered myself to kind of like expand in that area, I had done my own live series. Actually, it was during the month of March in support of Women's Month. And each month I interviewed um, amazing women I thought to be amazing women
Right.
in the sewing community. I interviewed Duana Chandler, who at that time was not a Nomi pattern designer yet. I had done a couple patterns with her, testing her patterns, and I interviewed her. That was amazing. I also interviewed Carly from, her name is Carly Kenyon. I'm going to forget her handle right now. So amazing, very young, creative. And she has just taken off. She is a Ditto, she's a Joanne's ambassador. She has a lot going on and young in this field. So this is not just, sewing isn't for grandmas. And so interviewed, that's how I really kind of came to learn and get close with Sandy is I interviewed Sandy about the over 50 community. And that was how I got into it. And I'm like, I really kind of, and I was a newbie. Like I had probably 50 followers. I wasn't doing it for followers. I was doing it for myself because y'all, COVID had hit and I came from an executive background and I needed something to sink my brain into that was not quite, but similar to the kind of work that I did in my former work. And that's how I got into it. All right, so I'm gonna make sure this pocket is in the back. I am now placing the interior bag, the lining, so to speak, on the exterior, and I'm doing it completely. I was getting ready to say I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it right because I want wrong sides facing. And the reason why I want wrong sides facing is I'm actually going to just do a top stitch along the top of it. I'm not going to birth the bag where I do right sides facing. I'm going to do it a really simple, easy way, making sure that I line up the side seams. And I'd already put in a little notch where I want my straps. So when I get to that part, I'm going to put my webbing, my strap in there, and I'm just going to go around. Like I said, this is a very easy. Now the cat is scratching the door to get out. I can't with her. This is a very easy beginner pattern. You don't have to worry about how do I turn it out? How do I do this? How do I do that? It's so easy.
And what pattern is this again?
It isn't even a pattern. It is literally me like, okay, let's make a tote bag and how do we do that?
Okay, this is Byrd's pattern.
This is Byrd's pattern, if you can even call it a pattern, and make it any size that you want. Why not? You could do leather. You could then, once you're comfortable at the sewing machine, you can definitely mix it up and do a lot of different things. A zippered pouch. You can make the um, you can put in more stabilizer so the bag actually kind of stands up on its own. I got to let the cat out now. She's losing her mind. Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know how you all do these TikTok sewing lives with these complicated patterns because I've already screwed up. Well, not screwed up, but so when I was sewing this around, I should have included sewing the elastic when I had the right sides together. So I've just kind of ripped little holes. And now when I do my top stitching, I'll do there. There's been a huge shift in the last few years. Okay, this is Michelle. There's been a huge shift in the last few years. I think in the dynamic of what we see. Your team has been a big factor in that. I love seeing all different demographics within the sewing community. Thank you, Michelle.
You, Michelle.
Yeah. I mean, and anybody, over 50 Live, anybody wants to be a guest editor, please reach out to Byrd. That's another way we get perspectives from people, is if people can, again, we are asking for time, which is, God, I wish we didn't have to, but that is one way that we can see different perspectives from people. And it is important. Like, you know, it's not just sewing, it's sewing because like, my whole thing is like, I'm a sewist and I have mobility issues. Like, so it's really important for me that I see people taking pictures with people sitting down in outfits. I think, some people are like, I didn't even think of that. Well, of course, why would you? Why would you think of that? Like, it's not that something you think about. But now you're like, oh, that's really cool. I can take a photo, one of my photos with me sitting down, so somebody who does have mobility issues, who may be in a wheelchair, who may have whatever, can now see how the pattern looks. So it's important, and it's definitely important that we see different faces.
Absolutely. And don't be shy about reaching out. Molly and I, as you hopefully can see here, we are just what you see is what you get. We are
Yeah.
both very personable, feel comfortable reaching out. I encourage it. Just be comfortable reaching out to us. That is what we want.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, what did I just do?
This is wonderful. Thank you everyone for coming. This is our first one. I know we're over on YouTube, which is a whole new thing. And look at, we have a nice group here.
Yeah,
Byrd,
I'm
it,
good.
it
Thank,
makes me happy.
thank you guys for stopping in. Thank you for the love and support. Trying technology when we first logged in today. I couldn't bring on. What I learned is that when you go live on YouTube, the iPad's functionality is not the same as the mobile functionality. So you're going to want to do this from a phone. So it's all part of the.
Yeah, and you know how I knew that is I was trying to post a short from my iPad. What happened to the option to do a short? Well, for God's sakes, and I don't know technology, but I have a husband who's in IT, and he's like, "It's the same operating system. I don't know what the problem is." That's what he was yelling at me when we were trying to get on. And he's like, and I said, "I think she needs to get off the iPad. I think it has something." He's like, it's the same operating system. That shouldn't be an issue, but it is. It's an issue. So if you're trying to go live, you got to go from your phone.
And I think it's just for the learning process, but I want you guys to see the real deal behind this, because when you see polished videos, see that we're going to make mistakes. It's not going to be like that. You're just going to get the real deal and some sewing content and in many different ways. So I think that is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's, it's, you and I were a little nerve wracked. We've gotten so used to the YouTube lives. I think we're just like, slam, boom, boom, we're there.
The
And
Instagram.
I felt like we were back in the beginning where I'm like, breathe, just breathe, Molly.
And I reached out.
It's gonna be okay.
I was like, Molly, I can't find you.
And I'm like coming at you from every like different channel I have. I'm like, is she live? Is she there?
But what you did was you were like, take your time. And
Yeah. I was telling you, I was like, I'm telling Byrd, just take her time. And I was like, Molly, just breathe. Byrd, it's okay.
You were stressing?
Oh, I did. I think it's, because I couldn't be right. I almost FaceTime you. I wanted to be right next to you. I literally physically wanted to be in contact with you, to be able to be like, okay, we're in this together. But I was just
Yeah, but
like,
those words,
let it go. Let it go.
those words immediately like totally put me at ease. And then I was like, you got it, Byrd. Take your time. Get out this one. Take your time writing the description. I'm not getting paid millions. This is for fun. And I just took my time and learned, when we go live here, you want to make sure you do it from your phone.
Yeah.
All, all stuff. Part of the process. And I think it is, I want to encourage you, um, try new things, even when they are a little bit scary.
Yeah. 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 That's like that energy you get from being scared. Like use it just to jump off. Especially when, you're going to jump off to a landing pad or something. Then you're just like, oh, yeah, okay, I can do this. Because it's exhilarating. And I think when we get older, like I have a grandson who's 6, and I'm always like, I wish I could get so excited about, I don't know, whatever it is. Like when he learned how to walk, he was so excited about walking forward. And I'm like, I wish I could be that excited about walking. So I'm like, you have to like figure it out now as you get older. Like figure out those moments that you can make exciting for yourself. I got the light coming in on me now.
And it's really for any age, honestly.
Yeah.
We can get it and allow that small voice to tell us that we can't do it.
Yeah.
And that small voice and saying, nope, we got this today.
So Byrd, I have a funny story that I think all the people that are sewists and hobbyists can appreciate.
Yeah.
Currently, I live in a rural area. And so the rules around building things and getting approvals are pretty loosey-goosey. And now I'm about to move to a city. And I'm moving into a city that has basically a small kind of village in it. I don't have covenants, but I am so I'm a builder, I'm a general contractor, and I'm always have picked up permits and then I go build something. And this is the first time that I'm actually creating the permit, having to go to zoning and ask them permission. When Michael and I have a small house, and then our workshops and our sewing studios probably triple the size of our house. That is our ideal way to live. I know not everybody is. So this is what we're trying to do at the other place. And I walked into the zoning and she's like, you can't do that. And she's like, and she's literally like, are you in, not like, it wasn't even that I was insane. It was like, you can't, no. And she goes, your hobbies cannot be bigger than the space you're living in. And I looked at her and was like, oh, but it is. Like, I was like, I said, if this house that we're remodeling could be smaller, we would make it smaller because we don't need all that space. But I thought that was kind of funny. So just so all you know is, my zoning of city of Santa Fe does not feel it's appropriate that your house is smaller than your workshop.
Oh,
I know. I was like, I don't know what to say to that.
I mean, I guess I understand it, from a city perspective, but I also believe in freedom, in being able to do what you want to do. I'm actually in just the opposite of your kind of environment. So I'm in an HOA community.
Yeah.
And I used to be on the board. And the HOA basically wants to control every single thing that you do. Every thing that you do. And I just couldn't be a part of that. I actually resigned from I couldn't do it. And then they impose fees and fines and liens on your property. And I'm like, look, people have paid a lot of money to live here. This is unnecessary. So I couldn't be a part of that.
Yeah. It's a hard one, and because I am a builder, I have to basically make homeowners who are building this beautiful house, and they're like, "Why won't the HOA let me do this?" And I'm always like, "I didn't write the rules. I
Yeah.
am obligated to follow the rules. If you want to change the rules, that's on you." It goes with inspections, it goes with all those things, and it is a hard one. I actually had a house that we were ready to break ground, and they had one it was tiny HOA, and they had one board member who was the neighbor who didn't like the design of the house, even though it met every HOA standard they had. And they made it so hard on her, she stopped the build and she sold the lot.
Wow.
She was so upset. And I mean, I didn't blame her because she was like, even if I get what I want, she's like, this is my next door neighbor. Like, I hate them now. I hate them. I don't want to be living here now. So, yeah, Michelle says, I would just have a whole other house just for sewing if I could. And that's what we had. This house that we bought, old house, has two houses on it. And so one house is sewing workshop and the other house is for living. The house we're living in is about 600 square feet too big. So we're actually the master bedroom that we're creating, the main bedroom we're creating is going to be my sewing studio. Um, and then we will live in the secondary bedroom that's small. Because again, I'm like, I just need a bed in my bedroom.
And you guys are doing all of the construction pretty much yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have to bring in electricians. So
Knitting
I have
stuff.
a license to do everything, but I cannot pull my own license for plumbing or for electrical.
Right, right.
So those two things would be done by others that I hire.
So Molly, tell me about your how you got into um sewing. Like I know you talked a little bit about it, but how long have you been sewing and that kind of thing?
So I come from generations of sewers, crafters, artists. So it's always was just a normal thing. My dad knew how to sew. Like he had a homemade, and this was I always have to preface this. This was the 70s where there was a renaissance of craftiness going on. So macrame, my dad macrame. And I'm pointing out my dad because a lot of men didn't do this at this point. And he was man's man. I mean, the guy was like a big bear. Um, and he had great fine motor skills, and he sit around and do that. And my mom sewed. We she still has that old sewing machine. It's an old Singer that was converted with had the treadle, and it was converted with a motor, probably her mom's, her grandmother's, something. So that was just it. It was just, it was much more playful. Neither parent really sat me down and taught me the skills. And so
Yeah.
I lacked the skills for decades. I did try and learn the skills. I had the big four. I have a couple examples of clothes that I made. I eventually went and worked part time for my close friend who lived next door, who was also a sewist, who had an alteration company.
Oh, wow. So you do have some skills then.
Well, I learned some. My thing that she did, like like the woman that did the hymns, she would knock them out. So that was not my, so I did a lot of bridal stuff, a lot of the hand stuff. I had a really nice hand stitching on things like that. I'm loving following Raven Maureen right now because she is working as a bridal alterator. I love doing, hand picking out the beads so that you're pulling them out. There's another woman that does alterations. I can't think of her name right now. She does pretty major alterations from
Is it Monday?
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that for a couple of years. And that was when I had my daughter. I got a divorce while I was pregnant. So I was a little like, what do you do with this like infant? Like
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with her. I was like, so my friend was like, you bring her into the sewing shop and we watch her.
Oh,
And so my daughter, her first year and a half was raised in the shop. And She was the least curious kid, so people would come in and there'd be like pins on the carpet and they'd be like, Sophia would be sitting right there and they'd be like, aren't you worried? And we're like, not
Oh,
one. She just always crawl around. It was a lovely place to do that. It was exhausting, definitely sewing and trying to do this, but it was my first time working with women. I work construction and I really never was around a group of women, and so it was quite exciting.
and sounds like they were just incredibly supportive, just a nurturing kind
Oh,
of environment.
it was just a really nice like time for me. I just gotten out of this horrible marriage, and just to be in this like cocoon of
Yeah,
women who just were like, we're here for you.
that's
I lived next door to my parents. My parents were very much like that. We're here for you as much as you need us. you know
beautiful.
I was able to raise and make those decisions, but also have this like place to land. And I tell you, like, whenever I hear people, I'm like, I knew I was lucky at the time. Like, I knew like I was living paycheck to paycheck, but for God's sakes, not one person around me would allow me to go hungry for a day, or my child. And not everyone has that. And so it was a moment of like, I'm struggling, but my God, I just feel so happy to have these people here for me if I need it.
I think that is incredibly beautiful. It really speaks to our village, which is
Oh,
larger than family, and people that can come in our lives and really help us through some of the most difficult times in our lives with ease and not ever make you feel bad,
yeah,
Dur-
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was so, I got a lot during that time. I did pick up a lot of skills, and I actually launched my own design company for a few years, and I did handmade lampshades and I did beddings. And it was the woman that ran the shop. She's like, just go do this. And the financial support of my parents, they gave me a grant basically, because they said, you don't have to pay it back, but here's a grant so you can go try. And it was, again, I went into this wonderful time. If I could have made it, I would still be making lampshades to this day. It's one of the things I just, was wonderful. I didn't. In the end, it was not, something I was able to make a living off of. And at that point is when I went into construction. But I've always sewn, always. So you asked me this simple question, and like 20 minutes later, I'm still going on.
no,
Like,
I love it. I love but it's because our lives are so rich. They're just
yeah,
rich.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have one more stitch and then I'm done.
And I'm sewing on my ankle, which I meant to do earlier. So I'm putting it on the inside of a meant to do. I'm not even changing the color of the thread.
I'm not either.
I'm letting it go.
Oh my goodness. I'm not bringing the chicken back in to see if she fits it. We're just going to assume she fits.
It's the same size you made before, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think she's changed. I may have to put this on another one though. I really like this one. She'll have options now. All right. So there you go. Her little arms. I don't know if people can really see with this. Little arms go through her wings. Sorry. Her little wings go through here. Yeah. We're
Oh
done.
my gosh, that is so cute.
Reversible.
I wonder if Cynthia's still on because I think that Cynthia was the one who said that she has a chicken, right?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have another little stitch to strengthen the strap here. I usually do cross, and I didn't do it completely, so I wanted to add another little one just in case I'm carrying heavy things. But I am 100% feeling this bag, and I love the way that it turned out. So
I
Molly,
love I love a good tote bag. This fabric actually we made also, I forgot, Christmas one year. We made tote bags for presents.
yeah,
And
um, It's functional, it's useful, it's easy. Um, I may keep this one because of the sentimental piece because it was
Yeah.
fabric.
I
Um,
would not be giving that one away.
yeah, I know, but I don't know. I don't think so either. I have a friend I was supposed to be making a bag for. She doesn't know. She actually is knitting me, maybe it's crochet, I don't know, a new infinity scarf. She made one for me about 10 years ago. I still use it. It's beautiful, a deep red, and she's making me a really deep green. And she said, "It's for your birthday." And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I appreciate that, but I'm coming with a swap. So I thought about this tote bag for her.
Isn't your birthday, wasn't it in December?
Yes, it was in December, but so I had a very low key celebration in December. Just my husband and I went down to the National Harbor. We stayed at the hotel, had a nice dinner. And then this past week, it was a group of 19 total. We went
Yeah.
to Panama for the very first time.
I don't have that many friends.
It was family and friends. So some on my husband's side, they flew to Panama from Seattle. My son from LA. A friend came from Ohio. A number of friends came from where I live in Maryland. Um, and total of and friends came from Florida. So all convened in Panama. Most stayed for the full 8 days. Some stayed 5 days. Some stayed 6 days, 7 days. Most stayed the entire time, and we enjoyed ourselves from the big city. It is a very big city, very advanced city, to going to Embera Village, which is one of the indigenous communities, which they were just incredibly sweet and kind and developed. Like they use solar power. Um, the canal. I definitely recommend Panama. People don't think about Panama as a vacation. I recommend it. I like to go to offbeat places, but I highly recommend Panama.
Okay. I was wondering because, yeah, I didn't think of, I had to look it up on the map. Like, I know the Panama Canal, but I literally was like, how far is she going?
Yep, yep.
It's far.
It's on CNN's. We had already booked it back in March or April of last year, but CNN came out with their best places to travel in 2024, and surprisingly, Panama was on it.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Well,
highly recommend it. I had no issues. It was really an amazing trip. So my tote bag is
oh,
all
so adorable. Oh my God, that is so cute.
2 pockets. This
All
is
right.
actually the inside of the bag. Again, used all black African inspired fabric. This fabric came from Kenya, and it's completely reversible. Um, and on the outside, I just repurposed the shirt, kept the pockets that were in the dashiki shirt, kept them intact, and there you go.
Oh, it's so cute.
Show me yours.
Okay. Here's mine. My little set. Again, it's a hen saddle to protect the hen from the rooster from mounting or anyone that might be pecking her backside. So her wings come through here. There you go. There we go.
So much, everyone.
It's so fun. I thought this was going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, it was
Fun.
great. Please make sure that you are following Mike and Molly's house here on YouTube. It's subscribing here on YouTube, following at the other places, but subscribing here. This is most important right now. We're trying to promote YouTube, our presence here, but you can also find us on all of the other social medias. We're on Instagram a lot. Are you on Facebook, Molly?
I am, but it's like TikTok. Like it matches Instagram, but I just don't participate that much. I have a very low following. And then TikTok for me is mostly sewing.
Yeah.
It is. It's just sewing, I guess.
So
Yeah.
for the most part, YouTube and I would say Instagram. Are you on Threads?
I have an account and I've never posted. Believe it or not, I'm not a word kind of gal. Like I have a
Yeah,
hard time with words.
yeah. I do just a little bit
I
on.
know. I every time I'm like, oh,
Yep. Just kind of like more what I'm really feeling on threads. Um, but I try not to spend a lot of time on social media on any given day. I may post and then go on about my business and see it later in the evening. So I wanted to just thank everyone for joining us for our very first live. I think it went
You
pretty
guys,
well.
this is fun. I want to do this again. Yeah, I like your ideas of stash Sundays. So
So we're going to start Stash Busting Sundays. We're not going to promise the date we're going to go live next,
I'm not making any promises here.
but we're going to promote it on Instagram for sure. I'll put it on TikTok and on Threads. We'll even promote it here on YouTube. If you haven't, please subscribe to us. Please share this with other people. Please like it. For both Molly and I, go to our YouTube channels, and your TV in your bedroom when you're working, just put YouTube on and hit play and go on about your business. We appreciate those play hours too. We need those play hours.
We need those play hours.
Yeah.
Please. All righty.
Thank you guys, again, show your project, Molly. This
Okay.
that we did. Molly's project. Tell them your project again.
Mine is a hen saddle for your female chicken to put a little cover on her.
And where can they get that pattern?
They can get it at Hello Sewing. HelloSewing.com. It's a free PDF.
Yes. And then you're welcome, Cynthia. And then I did a self-drafted tote bag, in honor of Black History Month, using all African fabrics and Black inspired fabrics from here and from Kenya. So, guys, we thank you so much. I am going to post this so you'll be able to look at it later. You'll be able to share it with other people. Thank you, guys. That's it for now.
Thank you. See you all later.
Bye bye.
Bye.